a yard, a porch, a place to call your own. That's what you want. But your bank account is currently laughing at the 2026 housing market. Let's be real, solo home ownership is getting harder by the day. But what if you didn't have to do it solo? What if you and your best friend, the one who actually cleans the dishes, teamed up to buy a house? It sounds like a dream, right? Having the down payment, doubling the buying power, and finally getting that spare bedroom. But before you start picking out paint swatches, there are some uncomfortable truths we need to talk about. So if you do this wrong, you lose money and your best friend. The biggest why is obvious: buying power. When you pool your resources, you aren't just looking at the bottom of the barrel listings anymore. You've doubled your down payment. Each of you can bring 10%, and that makes the impossible suddenly seem reachable. Plus, you also have monthly stability. You have 2 jobs probably that's going to help you pay the utilities, the property taxes, the insurance, and the surprise plumbing bill. They all get cut in half, depending on how you work out the details. Plus, you're going to be building equity instead of throwing $1,000 a month into a landlord's pocket. You're both building a nest egg that hopefully in the future can turn into equity that you can cash out when you're ready to sell. It's the ultimate financial life hack, but only if you treat it like a business deal, not a sleepover. Before you call a realtor and get started on your home search, you need to have the most awkward dinner conversation of your life. You need to kind of audit your friend. You might love them at brunch, but do you love their 620 credit score, which may be better than yours? You need to be transparent. So some things that you're going to need to talk about is debt. How much do you have? How much do they have? Do they have a student loan, a car payment, credit card balances? Maybe both of you are debt free. That's great. But if you have a little bit, you got to figure out how that's going to be handled, because it's going to be addressed when you get in front of a mortgage officer. What about your habits when you actually live together? Are they the dishes in the sink for 3 days, or a person that vacuums at 7 a.m.? And if they are you okay with that? You got to be okay with the habits in the home as well as the money. And how long are they planning to be with you in the home? Can they stay for 3 to 5 years? Is it only going to be 2? Is it going to be 6 months? Obviously, that doesn't make sense when buying. And are there any pets involved? Because then not only do the people have to get along, but the pets do. So if your financial or lifestyle goals don't align perfectly, the house will become a cage. You have to really be ruthless here, because it's very important that you be able to get along, or both of your lives are going to be bored. Never, and I mean never, buy a house with a friend on a handshake deal. You need a co-ownership agreement drafted by a lawyer. And really, this should be applied to anybody that's not married or somehow related, like a father-son, sisters, something like that you're actually connected. The 2 main ways to hold title are tenants in common and joint tenancy. Now, if you're a married couple, it's called tenants by the entirety, and it's very similar to joint tenancy because you own the house 50-50. If one person passes away, the other person automatically gets their share. So it makes sense with a married couple. Usually you're just going to have the kid, each of you together have the same kid, so it makes sense. But more often that you'll see in a friend ownership of a home is a tenants in common. So this allows you each to own equal shares. Say whether it's 50-50 or 60-40 or 70-30, whatever, it's unequal shares, and then that leaves your portion to whoever you want to in your will. This is really great for like a blended family. If you have 2 kids and your significant other has 2 kids and you get together and buy a house, then each of your share of that house can go to your children. So most commonly you're going to see tenants in common, but if you're really close, you may want to go ahead and do that joint tenancy where all of your interest goes to your other person that you own the home with once you pass away, or that's really going to be the only reason. Most friends opt for that because it offers more flexibility, especially for individual estate planning. So it's really your safety net, and this is how they will create the deed. It'll actually say in the deed the type of tenancy that you're going to have. So this is something the title company will need, and so you should do it very early on so that you can make sure that your lawyer can get the paperwork done timely. So now that we get into the actual numbers, you're going to apply for a joint mortgage. The bank is going to look at both of you, both of your credit scores, both of your debts, both of your incomes, because you have a debt to income ratio. Unfortunately, they usually use the lower of the two credit scores to determine your interest rate. So that's why it's so important that you have that beginning conversation about how much debt they have, how well they've made payments, because a history of missed payments could cost you thousands of dollars over the life of your loan. You also need to decide how the mortgage is going to be paid. Ideally, you would have one bank account that both of you contribute to every month, every week, however you decide to lay it out, so that the house payment comes out of this account, the utilities come out of this account, even maybe maintenance come out of this account. That's the best thing to do, so it's all kept separate. Many people also don't think if one person stops paying, if you decide just to have, we decided to have the payment come out of my account and that person pay me back. Well, what if I don't make that payment? What if I get your money and I don't make the payment? Or what if that person, that doesn't give me the money, but I still make the payment? So either way, you're both not keeping up your agreement. But the lender doesn't care. The payment wasn't made and both names are on the loan, so you're both 100% responsible. That means late payments are going to affect both of your credits. Default is going to affect both your credits. So it's a shared legal obligation, not just a shared agreement between friends. This is also a good reason for that house account, so that you can easily see that the payments have been made and on time. And so you don't have to constantly be like, did you make the house payment? You can log in, see that account because it's a joint account, and see that the payment was pulled out and everything is on track. Another thing you want to make sure that you talk about is who is going to pay when the air conditioner dies in the middle of July. If you own 60% of the house, do you only pay 60% of the repairs? If you're a handyman and you can fix the AC, does the other person have to contribute somehow? You really need a maintenance agreement on top of the tenancy agreement to decide how you're going to do that. Ideally, I would agree that you would need a reserve fund or emergency fund. I would say it would make sense to put that in that joint house account, but you could have it somewhere else so it's earning interest as well. So each of you would contribute a set amount monthly, ideally, to that emergency fund. Maybe you get paid differently, so you could work it out. But then you also, if you have somebody that is handy and actually does all the repairs and all you're doing, the other person is doing is maybe providing the materials, you can work that out evenly. But you have to decide how that's going to happen if you have something like that. You're going to make sure that you have it written down so you don't have to fight about it later. You want as much details as you can so that it's covered and every little thing that comes up is not going to be an issue, especially if that person dies and their heirs are the ones that are taking over or with the original person. They're going to be like, well, we didn't agree to this, but it is in writing, so therefore that it continues to be carried on throughout the life of the loan. Life happens. People get married, they get job offers in different states, or simply decide they want their own space. Maybe the agreement on the lifestyle just didn't work out. So you need a clear exit strategy before you buy. A couple of options to think about is the buyout. How do you determine if one person wants to leave and one person wants to stay, what the price is going to be? Are you going to do an appraisal and see what it's actually worth now so you can get the equity back? Or is the other person just going to be able to buy out all the expenses that they have into the home? There's also the option with if one person decides they want to sell and the other person doesn't want to sell and stay, well, they have the first right of refusal, the option to buy out their share before they list the home. If one person wants to sell and the other one doesn't, do they have a say? Do they have to agree to the sale of the home, or do they get to stay? You may even want to put in this agreement how long that you're going to stay, because most people see the best appreciation in a home if they stay 3 to 5 years, to ensure that you don't lose money on closing costs, the way the market goes up and down, or improvements that you've made that you expect to get a big return on. So those are all things that you want to consider when you're putting these agreements together, so everyone is on the same page, there's no questions, and hopefully no arguments later. Buying with a friend is one of the smartest ways to break into the market in 2026, as long as you keep your head on straight and your contracts signed, all of them. But even with the perfect partner, the where matters just as much as the who. So buying a home with a friend is not automatically a bad idea. In many cases, it can be a smart stepping stone into home ownership, especially for first-time home buyers trying to enter the market. But every market has its nuances, and Cherokee Village is no different. So before you move forward, make sure you're asking the right questions about financing, ownership, local regulations, and your long-term plans. And if you're thinking about buying here in Cherokee Village, the next step is simple. Check out this video, Key Questions for Cherokee Village Homebuyers. It breaks down exactly what you need to know before making an offer so you can move forward with confidence and clarity. Thanks for watching and have a blessed day.